As those of you who subscribe or regularly tune in to watch videos on this channel will know, I have a bit of a long-running series in which I imagine how a national team could line up if every player who is eligible to represent them had chosen to do so. Together we have looked at the national teams of Jamaica, Nigeria, the United States and so many more, and that series is by no means finished. However, lots of people have asked for similar videos but for more established national teams, whether it be Brazil or Spain or in today's case, Italy. Since there are so many talented players who are actual Italian internationals, I've changed the format a bit for this one. Whilst normally I take a pool of every single player who could have represented the nation in question, including those who do in real life, and then pick out the best 11, today I'll only be considering players who could have represented Italy but don't. If the video is a success, I could very easily use the same format for videos about Germany, Argentina, etc. or not if you all hate it, whatever floats your boat. This is the people's channel after all. Oh, and if you're not yet subscribed to HITC Sevens, then you should subscribe now, because with all this uncertainty in the world at the moment, we could all do with some certainty. And on this channel, you're certain to get me talking rubbish about football at least 6 days a week. The usual FIFA eligibility rules apply, and I might do a combined 11 at the end, including real-life Italian internationals, depending on how long I've rambled on for by that stage. Here are my views on the best 11 that could have represented Italy, but don't. Goalkeeper: Fernando Muslera. The Italians have long had world-class goalkeepers, from Gianpiero Combi to Gianluigi Buffon, and they look well prepared for the future with their current crop as well. Italy are also fairly well equipped when it comes to what-if goalkeepers too, as far as I'm concerned, as I've always thought that Fernando Muslera was a pretty underrated number one. Out of sight, out of mind, and Muslera has been playing outside of Europe's top 5 leagues for almost a decade, having joined Galatasaray in 2011. He returns to the limelight every time there's a major international competition, having won 116 caps for Uruguay, impressing on almost every occasion except for his big blunder against France at the most recent World Cup. Although he is Uruguay's third most capped footballer of all time, Muslera could actually have represented 3 different national teams. The 34-year-old could have represented Argentina, since he was born in Buenos Aires, and he could also have represented Italy through his parents' descent. He has previously stated that he feels 100% Uruguayan though, and he has spent 10 years as the national team's number 1. Right back: Zacchi. The most evenly contested spot in this 11, in the sense that there were 3 or 4 players who were tough to split. In the end, I've gone for Campeonato Brasileiro fullback Zacchi, who is one of only 2 players in this 11 who could technically still represent Italy. Brazilian born and raised, Zacchi made his name with Santos, having joined the club's youth ranks at the age of 11. Zacchi won gold with Brazil at the 2016 Olympics, and his fine form for Santos led to talk of a move to Europe. His situation at Santos soured in 2017 when Zacchi clashed with fans and accused the club of failing to pay his wages on time. A really well-rounded fullback who's equally comfortable at left or right back, Zacchi subsequently signed for Internacional, where he recently suffered another setback with the death of his mother. Nonetheless, aged 26, eligible to represent Italy and still uncapped at senior level, the Bahialoni gets us started with our back 4. Centre-back: Pedro Jeromel. I'm just going to warn you that there's a strong Brazilian theme to our back 4, although that changes with the rest of the 11. My first choice centre-back is another Brazilian, and this one has been capped by Brazil. Former Bundesliga star Jeromel returned to Brazil on a permanent basis with Grêmio in 2016, and it is only since then, already into his 30s, that he has been capped by Brazil. Despite being 35 years old now, Jeromel has enjoyed an excellent homecoming, and he has spent the last half-decade as one of the most impressive centre-backs in the league. Jeromel is an old Venetian surname, and indeed, Jeromel could have represented Italy through his father, but instead, he chose to represent the nation of his birth, winning 2 caps between 2017 and 2018, and making Brazil's 2018 World Cup squad. Centre-back: Raphael Toloi. Joining Zacchi as the only other player in this 11 who technically could still represent Italy, Raphael Toloi is yet to have been capped at senior international level. The 30-year-old previously made 19 appearances for Brazil at under-19 level, and he is seemingly still holding out for a phone call from Chiche. As with every player in this 11 thus far, Toloi wasn't born in Italy, but he would have been eligible to represent the Azzurri through his parents. Although he hasn't yet played for Italy, Toloi has spent the last 6 years playing in Italy, for both Roma and Atalanta. A tough tackling centre-back who is comfortable carrying the ball out from the back, Toloi has been superb under Gianpiero Gasperini in Bergamo, so he edges out some tough competition at the heart of our backline. Left back, Alex Telles. There's very little to split Alex Telles and Nicolas Tagliafico at left back, but I have to pick one of them, so I've gone for Telles. Telles hails from Brazil, but the Seleção are overloaded in the left back position. That made a senior or youth team cap hard to come by, and in 2016, he told the press that he would welcome a call-up from Italy. That call never arrived though, and in March 2019, Telles finally received a call-up from Brazil. He has since won just 3 caps, restricted by the quality of his competition with Brazil. Meanwhile, he joined Manchester United from Porto in the summer, having made the Portuguese Primeira Liga team of the season thrice in just 4 seasons in Portugal. Central midfield, Thiago Alcantara. Taking a brief departure from Brazilians, sort of, I mean that solely in the sense that Thiago Alcantara doesn't represent the Brazilian national team. A cosmopolitan character who was born in Italy to 2 Brazilian sports people, Thiago's father Mazinho played for Brazil at the 1994 World Cup, meanwhile his mother Valeria was an international volleyball player. Thiago's family moved to Spain due to his father's career when the young boy was only 3 years old, meaning both he and his brother Rafinha grew up in Spain. Whilst Tiago chose to represent Spain at international level, Rafinha played for Brazil, although only Tiago could have played for Italy, which is what we're concerned with here. The 29-year-old has since won 29 caps for Spain, he's won it all with Barcelona and Bayern Munich, and he now plays for Liverpool. Given that he's eligible, there were never any doubts surrounding his inclusion. Central midfield, Giovanni Lo Celso. The holder of an Italian and an Argentine passport, Giovanni Lo Celso is born and raised in South America, but his family have their roots in Italy. There were never too many doubts about who the former PSG man would represent, having represented Argentina at the 2016 Olympics and having won his first senior cap at the age of only 21. Now aged 24, Lo Celso has already won 21 caps for La Albiceleste, and he joined Premier League side Tottenham in 2019. A gifted and creative midfield playmaker, if Lo Celso had chosen to represent Italy, one suspects he'd be a regular inclusion in their squad. Right wing, Angel Di Maria. Sticking with La Albiceleste, there is a long tradition of Argentinians representing the Italian national team, from Luis Monti and Raimondo Orsi when Italy won their first World Cup in 1934, to Mauro Camoranesi when Italy recorded their most recent World Cup success in 2006. Angel Di Maria didn't choose to represent Italy, but he could have done, given that he has plenty of Italian ancestry and even holds an Italian passport. Born in Rosario, Di Maria has represented Argentina since under 20 level, and with over 100 caps to his name, he is now Argentina's 6th most capped player of all time. Equally capable on either flank, it's cutting in off the right onto his favourite left foot, as he has done so effectively for PSG that we've got him in this 11. Attacking midfield, Paulo Dybala. As much as there was a strong Brazilian theme to our defence, there is a strong Argentinian theme to our attack, and that continues in attacking midfield with Paulo Dybala. Dybala was born in Argentina, but would have qualified for Italy through his maternal grandmother, and he acquired Italian citizenship in 2012 in order to facilitate his move to Palermo. There he formed an excellent relationship with fellow Argentine-Italian forward Franco Vazquez, who has actually represented both Italy and Argentina at senior international level. Dybala has not, having only ever represented Argentina, with whom he has won 29 caps since 2015. The 2017 Ballon d'Or nominee is a 3-time Serie A Team of the Season inclusion, but there are reports he is currently struggling to agree terms with Juventus and that there could be interest from Real Madrid. Left wing, Luis Suarez. One of the finest forwards of a generation, Luis Suarez is Uruguay's all-time leading goalscorer, but La Celeste aren't the only national team that Suarez could have represented. Born in Salto, Suarez is of Italian descent, and he is also married to an Italian citizen. I include that second piece of information purely for trivia, not because it would have helped him represent Italy. Suarez's Italian credentials were put to the test in September 2020, quite literally, when he took a B1 Italian language exam in order to gain Italian citizenship and help facilitate a move to Juventus. There have been reports that Suarez cheated on that test, and it certainly wouldn't have been out of character. Despite his close ties to Italy and the Azzurri, Suarez's best-known moment in an Italy game came at the 2014 World Cup, when he bit Italian centre-back Giorgio Chiellini. Barcelona's 3rd highest goalscorer of all time, Suarez left the Camp Nou in September, but it wasn't for Juventus. He ended up joining fellow La Liga side Atletico Madrid, and he has really sunk his teeth into life at the Wanda Metropolitano, having bagged 4 and 5 in the league so far. Centre forward, Mauro Icardi. I ought to point out that I was spoilt for choice in the forward areas, where Luis Suarez's longtime international strike partner Edinson Cavani is forced to miss out. That's because my first choice centre forward through the middle is Mauro Icardi, who may wish that he had held out in a bid to represent Italy rather than Argentina. I say that because despite 7 years of excellence at Inter Milan, Icardi has only ever won 8 caps for Argentina and has only scored 1 international goal, aged 27. That's because of Argentina's very top-heavy squad, which is rife with competition in attacking areas, and he was actually called up by Italy before he was called up by Argentina. Icardi rejected call-ups from Italy at both under-19 and at senior level, holding out for a call-up from Argentina, which he got in 2013. Unfortunately for him, only 7 have arrived since then, and none since 2018. Nonetheless, the PSG marksman is an enormous talent, and one suspects he would have won far more caps and scored far more international goals had he chosen to represent the Azzurri. So that is it for my 11 that could have represented Italy but don't, with honourable mentions owed to the likes of Federico Fazio, Nicolas Tagliafico, Lucas Leiva, Edinson Cavani, and many more. In a fantasy world in which all of those mentioned had chosen to represent Italy, I think I'd go for something like this, so not so much of the defensive replacements, but plenty of midfield and attack when it comes to a combined 11. I know leaving Ciro Immobile out is absolute blasphemy, but as good as he is, and as prolific as he has been, I still think Mauro Icardi is the better all-round centre forward. That's all from me for today then, folks. I hope you thoroughly enjoyed today's video. Get stuck into that like button like Suarez got stuck into Chiellini's shoulder if that was the case. I mean, just click on it aggressively, don't actually bite it. Let us know your thoughts in the comments, along with any other countries you would like to see a video like this about. Make sure to subscribe and turn on notifications for HITC Sevens, and feel free to follow me on Twitter or Instagram, where the username is just at HITC Sevens on both.